Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sathya here. Welcome to the Man Within podcast. I have some very special guests with me today. I'm really enjoying this in-person thing. I have Murray and Ash Smith from Catch the Fire Toronto. If you guys have been following me for a bit, you know that Catch the Fire is the church that really changed my life back in 2013. It's the reason I have this platform today. If I wouldn't have gone through their school, learned their core values, I wouldn't be free of pornography. I wouldn't really be the person that I am today. But I also had the privilege to work there for several years, and that's where I got to know these incredible people. And I brought them on today to talk about community because they are some of the best at gathering people, making people feel welcome, really fostering that sense, both on a micro scale, within small groups, that sort of thing, but also these guys have global impact and global positions within the Catch the Fire movement. And so there's a lot to learn from them. And it's no secret, right? We're more lonely, we're more anxious, more isolated than ever before today. And so that's why I brought them on. We're going to have an amazing chat. And I'm glad you guys are here. So Murray and Ash, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Sathya. It's good to be with you.
It's so good to be with you. And you make us sound much better.
Yeah.
That was a good intro then.
I mean, who are these people? They sound amazing. Wow.
No, but truly, you guys are amazing. I was driving in today and I was remembering when we were on that cruise. I think it was actually like 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
We were on that cruise and just chatting with you, Shaloma, and I had so much fun. We felt so welcomed and like just so honored to be around you guys.
Yeah.
And now you're in Toronto, because you weren't in Toronto at the time.
No, we were living in Raleigh.
North Carolina.
You were in Raleigh.
That was the cruise that brought COVID in, wasn't it?
I think,
Not quite.
I think we were like
it was just before.
We were like a week out from being stranded at sea. It was not that far.
No.
Yeah, seriously. But you guys are in Toronto now.
Yeah.
And so lots of our friends that are still in Toronto rave about you guys, and they talk about how great of a job you guys are doing leading, but especially I think making people feel welcome. So I'm excited to jump into all things community.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Give some backstory, because you guys have a backstory that even ties into my stomping ground, St. Catharines, where Shaloma and I live. But just give a bit of background about how you guys came together, how you became pastors, and how you became leaders of Toronto.
Sure.
Yeah. You start.
Sure, I'll start.
Okay.
So I grew up in a totally non-Christian, non-church background. And then I trained as a teacher, physical education and health teacher when I was at university. And
In Australia?
In Australia, yes.
Okay.
That's a funny accent. I say to everyone I'm from the deep, deep South.
Okay. The deepest South.
Especially when we lived in America in the South.
Yeah.
I'm from the really deep
the
South.
actual deep South, yeah.
And so for my last teaching practicum, I had to go, my college encouraged us to go out of where we lived.
Okay.
And I initially chose a school on the west coast of Canada because I like skiing and sailing.
Ooh,
and so I was initially going to go there, but unbeknownst to me, God had a different plan, and the school that I was supposed to go to couldn't take me, so I ended up going to a school in St. Catharines, and I was supposed to be there for 10 weeks, stayed for 2 years.
Wow.
And in my 2-year journey there, I met a family they really loved the Lord, and they were very open with their family and their faith, and the husband was a teacher at the school, so they used to invite me over. I used to babysit their kids, and I always say I fell in love with Jesus through that family
community.
unit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. I don't think I realized quite what a gift they were until after I'd left.
Right.
And in the second year that I was there,
This
and it was
dashing
just
young Englishman.
just before I actually had said yes to following Jesus, this dashing young Englishman came.
Young being the operative word, yeah, to do a gap year. So I did a gap year between high school. I just finished high school, went to teach in this, well, I say teach, it was more like coaching sport and building theatre sets and, whatever they wanted me to do, babysitting classes. And I was there for 9 months in St. Catharines as well. That's where we got together and started dating.
So really was that known, I guess, internationally? Because you came from the UK, you came from Australia?
I guess if you were in the private school system in England, they're called public schools, which is weird. But if you're in the private school system, then it would be relatively well known.
I suppose it would have been on a list of international schools. So even at Ridley College, where we were at, they had international students.
Lots of internationals.
Yeah. Okay,
so,
got it.
Yeah.
So I was there for a year, and I was missionary kid brought up in Nigeria, West Africa, went to a boarding school for most of my life, and had sort of walked away from the Lord, and then through meeting Ash and this family, And then, Ash coming to know the Lord, I sort of came back as well. Then we finished, went to England. I was going to university, so I went to university there. Ash followed me. And then we got married before my final year of university.
Okay.
And then when I graduated, we were 3 months pregnant. So I wanted to be a pastor at that point.
You felt that calling.
That call.
Oh, wow.
But my pastor at the time very wisely said, listen, you're about to have a baby. He didn't say this, but subtext now, I can think about it. You're pretty immature. And you need some life skills.
Yeah.
So go and get a job.
Okay.
And so I got a job in England.
Learn how to provide for your family.
Learn how to provide for my family. And then we were part of the church community for probably 8 to 10 years in that church.
Mm-hmm. Where is this now?
This is in Newcastle in England.
In England, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we were, I trained as an accountant, just worked. We were always involved in church, always involved in community. The church that we started going to when we were married, they were a relatively small church, but very strong on a sense of family and community together.
Oh, interesting.
So,
okay.
We had lots of, when you have kids, you don't know what you're doing. Right? And so you go to find people that in your community to say, hey, I'm struggling with this, how to do this, I need some help. Hey, could you look after my kids? I need a break, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and I was a young follower of Jesus, and having not grown up in that background,
didn't have that foundation.
I was like, I'm hungry to learn. So I would connect with women that I look at how they did family, and I'd be like, okay, I want to come over and spend time with you. When I was pregnant,
smart.
I want to spend time with you and see and learn.
That's really smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the power of community is being able to see people that you can pattern yourself after, right?
Yes.
And being able to see people that there's something about you that I really appreciate. I can learn from you, and it therefore makes us better.
So I just wanted to ask about that family that kind of discipled you guys early on, got you back to Jesus and helped you meet Jesus.
Yeah.
What was it about them? What were they doing that was so impactful for you guys?
Kindness.
Yes, and they were very open.
Yeah.
So very open with their family.
Honest about their struggles, or just invited you in?
Just more, they would invite me in.
Okay.
So I'd go over and have meals with them.
Okay.
And just part of that, I come from a family with quite a lot of brokenness, divorce, and lots of other things. And so for me, I'd grown, because growing up in some of that, those challenges, I'd believed certain things about myself or about men or about others, and that formed me with some pain, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had some really poor relationships with guys before I got saved, and so was very wary of all sorts of things. And so this family were a safe space for me I felt like I could be myself, and they were natural about their faith. So they weren't religious or forcing things.
Yeah.
It's just I learnt to pray with their kids at bedtime, and I prayed some really dodgy prayers, I'm sure.
Praying to the tooth fairy.
Like after you left the room, they're like, okay, let's try that again.
But they were just very welcoming and inclusive. So I got invited to family things, and they trusted me to babysit their kids.
Yeah.
And so.
And when you babysat, they were just Bibles left.
I don't know if they did this. I don't know if they did this on purpose.
Exactly.
But I did find Bibles, and I would look after their house sometimes. I started reading the Bible, and then they invited me to come into their church community.
Sure.
And didn't force me, just let me go at my own pace.
Wow.
And even that church community welcomed me in. I remember being invited to participate in some Easter thing that was happening one year, and I wasn't even properly saved at that point, but they just made some space for me to be a part of it. And yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember what church it was?
Yeah. It is. They met in a school hall.
Okay.
It used to be part of a Mennonite church.
Oh, Southridge.
Came out.
Was it Southridge?
I don't remember the name of it.
West something?
Did Barry Adams
Yeah,
used to?
What was Southridge called before they became Southridge? I'm almost positive I know what you're talking about. They were in the Mennonite Brethren.
And then they moved out of that.
Yep, and then they outgrew that, and then they eventually bought a building.
Yeah, so they were in the school hall or something like that. So Barry Adams, if you know. author of the Father's Love Letter. They were there.
Oh, okay. So that is a different church actually. But yes, now I know what you're talking about.
Okay. And good friends of the family that we're talking about.
So we didn't know Barry, but we found out later on, years later, that they had a connection.
That's crazy.
And that was really cool. So they were just really natural in their family. I know now, looking back, I received healing looking at how the mum and dad related to one another. I received healing in looking at how they related to their kids, and then also scooped me in.
Yeah.
And then I remember when it was coming time for me to leave, I went out with the wife, Rowan, and we went out for lunch, and I remember at this point, so I hadn't prayed the prayer of salvation, but I was definitely, I want to be in with Jesus. I didn't know exactly what that meant. She gave me the book Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, which I think can be quite heady, but I really loved it.
Wow.
And then I remember saying to her, Rowan, when you're filling out forms and you have to put your religion on there, I used to not really do much, or I just would put something. But now I want to say I'm a Christian. It's so funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But that was the marking,
Yeah, it was kind of, and it wasn't until then when I went to the UK that I approached one of the leaders in the church, and I said, look, I've said yes, but I don't really fully know what I've said yes to. Can you help me understand that?
Yes.
And so she took me through a study of, and I invited some new friends to come with me.
Nice.
Anyway,
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's always been for me, the community, I've received so much healing from past trauma in community, because I needed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you kind of had that then at this church in Newcastle as well.
Yeah, so we had some really good older friends, our pastors, Matthew and Anne, especially, and Ian and Heather and Andy and Teresa, the three couples. They at various times really took us under their wing and just helped us. For instance, Ash wanted to have babies sooner and I wasn't ready. And so we were able to go and talk that through with Matthew and Anne one morning, and then they prayed for me and the Holy Spirit hit me and I'm like, okay, this is it, we're having babies.
Wow.
It's it was just and then they would walk. They were all walking, and there was many more than just those three couples, but walking us through how to do life well as a married couple, how to do life well as parents. Just really impactful.
And they were, I think they became kind of like substitute family.
Yes.
Not that you want to get rid of your family. No. I love my family, but they became stand-in because I wasn't with my family.
Yes.
But they stood in the gap in ways that they probably didn't always realize they were doing, but there was intentionality in it. And
that's amazing.
They set a model. These people all have set a model for us then on how we've done.
That's
life.
so cool.
Yeah, but there's also in that community a lot of good size portion of young adults. So it wasn't just there was people who were older, better in an older stage of life than us.
Yeah.
There was also people that were our peers that we would just have lots of fun with and build some connection with.
So
and then
were you going through the same kind of things?
And then one of
people shoulder to shoulder with you.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
And then one family there was a younger girl, probably maybe 10 years younger than you, who really bonded with you, and so you had the opportunity to start pouring into her life. So it's that multi-generational community that we need, right? That's really showed us the importance of mums and dads pouring into us, brothers and sisters, shoulder to shoulder, and then other people that you can, just pour your life into. It makes a huge difference to them. You can pass on what you've received. You can pass on, do the same for them, right?
So is this where you guys kind of, because I know you worked your way up in finance. Yeah. Because you got those life skills, right? You got advice too. But then always felt that calling as a pastor. Did you feel it even when you were like a missionary's kid as well?
When I was 10, I had this school project, and this, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I remember writing, I want to be a missionary like my dad. And I was thinking maybe we'd go to Africa, or because that's where I was grew up. And it turns out that from England, the Lord called us to go and plant a church in Australia.
Okay.
And then to go to America and then to Canada. So it turns out they've been a missionary all along, but not to the nations I was expecting.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah. So we were in the church in England for about 8 years, and that's where we experienced the move of the Spirit through Toronto. You know, what God was doing here in Toronto.
Yes.
And I think that probably there was within that church, the other dimension of it was that emphasis on the grace of Jesus, the relationship with the Holy Spirit, the Father's love, and therefore really not just growing horizontally in our relationships in our community, but also being really developed in our relationship with the Lord. And then, so we moved to Australia to plant a church. I was still working in full-time in finance,
and I was at home with the kids.
Three kids by this point.
We had our fourth when we moved to Australia.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, it's full on.
So we had them like a little bit like you, like just about 2 years or just under 2 years in between. Yeah. Except for going from number 3 to 4.
Because we moved to Australia and we weren't ready. And that was an interesting season of small community. And at first we moved to Melbourne and there was two other couples. And
you guys all moved together, you mean?
No, we met one couple that were already there that we knew.
Okay.
And then we'd met another couple that were from England but emigrating.
Okay.
And there was some challenges, mainly probably to do with my own insecurities and lack of leadership. And so within a year, we decided we were going to pack that church plant and move to Sydney, because there was a church that we'd also connected with in Sydney that were part of the same movement, and we had bonded really well with the leaders just in the short times we'd been to visit, passing through. And they were saying, come up and be part of this community.
Oh, okay.
And so we did.
Okay.
And that then, where we ended up with that was, we ended up with family friends that, both our kids and their kids lined up. We lined up with the parents, and we had some incredible still got lifelong friends, again, from that community.
Wow. So interesting.
Working for an accounting firm, working long hours.
Yeah.
Basically had to put the dream to be a pastor to bed, because it had become a bit of an ungodly ambition. But it was community that carried us through.
Wow.
Like Ash was really sick with
I had
all the pregnancies.
Severe morning sickness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, like the diagnosed hyperemesis gravidarium.
Time in hospital.
Excessive vomiting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is a thing.
That's crazy. Did they give you prescription medication for that?
I did, and I was in a hospital on drips and everything.
Oh, my
And
word.
again, another time where we really relied on the family of God to help us.
Yeah. You had 4?
Yeah.
4. I know. Wow. Here was the silver lining. I had very good labor and delivery. I like labor and delivery.
Oh, wow. So you're one of those. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, the quickest was 45 minutes, and the longest was
goodness.
2 hours and
2.5 hours.
2.5
wow.
hours. So.
Yeah. From the start to the finish.
To pray for Shaloma.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
But especially in Australia, when we moved to Sydney, there was one couple that she had a baby about 9 months before our Sarah was born.
Okay.
They became best friends. But Lynn, she would just pick up the kids after school, let Ash sleep on the couch while she was throwing up. We used to joke that she had to get rid of the couch ultimately because there was an ash-shaped divot in the couch, because they would feed us and they would look after us.
Oh my goodness!
I would often come back from work and not go home and go to their house because they'd looked after our kids, and just such a gift of community. It was amazing.
It's so funny because now I understand why you guys care about this so much, or why you're so good at it.
Because we received it.
Yeah, like you're such benefactors of it. It's amazing.
Yeah, we've seen what an impact it's made on our own lives.
Yeah.
And, I could point to many people that over the years that have been part of my life in community that I've been shaped by their lives. And
wow,
it's beautiful.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So I think that all of that also then honed even our pastoral, who we were going to become as well.
Yes.
In working in the church, we had responsibilities in the churches. We always volunteered and had roles, but never been in full time.
Yes.
But it was when we came to the US to help plant Catch the Fire Raleigh that we then stepped into that space, which was, I think, was the result of words that had been spoken over our lives that we just had, like Murray said, at different points, just let die. Because you couldn't make it happen in your own, which you don't really want to.
You don't want to force God's hand.
You need God to
doesn't
do
usually
it,
go well.
It
doesn't.
And that's them. So then we were in Raleigh and
What's it been like being in Toronto, trying to foster a sense of community? Because some of the places you're describing sound like a little bit more small, close-knit, more naturally there.
Yeah.
And Toronto's kind of the opposite,
Yeah.
right? Like everyone's kind of in their zone doing their thing. It's big, it's expansive. No one's just around the corner. Everyone's a 20-minute drive, minimum.
Yes.
What are you guys learning? Because you've been in Toronto for a couple of years now.
About
right?
4 years, coming up for 4 years.
In June.
We had a bit of a head start because we had been up to Toronto before, so it wasn't like we were completely new to the staff. At least we were new to most of the church, but we knew a little bit, acquaintances at least with staff.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because we were also coming as empty nesters then.
Right.
So that's another whole thing.
Because people know you outside of your kids.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a life.
You have an identity apart from,
So we were used to a big city, like Sydney's a big city.
Sure.
And you travel quite a long way to get to people. So we were used to that. Although the church that we were part of were in a fairly local area, that is different to Toronto.
Yes.
So the other thing that's different, Sydney is quite a diverse city, but Toronto is extremely diverse in terms of culture and everything, which we love.
Yeah.
We absolutely love it. That's been quite exciting for us.
Yeah.
But there are, it takes you time to get to know people in a new place, and you have to be incredibly intentional, and because there's so many people, and you have to think, okay, well, who am I going to start with? And so we started with the staff really, and then some people in the church, and we were saying it's like going on a bunch of first dates.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then you're deciding, do I want to go on a second date? And maybe that person might want to, or they don't want to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
we do.
And we exactly.
Some awkward, like, no, I'm not ready to move forward in this relationship. Yeah.
But it takes time.
It does take time.
It doesn't just happen like that.
Yeah, but it's, I think, also trying to keep an open heart to people.
Yeah.
And create a sense of warmth and belonging, even if we're never going to be best friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not good at being fake. Like I'll be polite. I hope most of the time.
You're polite for sure.
But I'm not good at faking it.
Yeah.
So I really look for, and I ask the Lord for people.
Yeah.
Can you help me find people that they can be themselves with me and I can be myself with them, and that helps you to feel. For me, anyway, that helps me to feel like, okay, I've got once I find just a few of those people, then I'm like, it's like, okay, settle. Then I can stretch that out a little bit further.
And that's always been, every time we've moved, everywhere we've lived, that's been a prayer, especially for you.
Yeah. And our kids.
Help us to find people that we can connect with.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
And I do really value that. I think we both value that authenticity and people not saying, I'm fine.
Right.
It's not my natural inclination. Ash has pulled me up into being more relational. One of my challenges is I can be much more project over people.
Right.
Yeah. Task over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have to work on that, but I get to ride on Ash's coattails a little bit.
100%. Lean into it. Yeah.
And then
absolutely,
because we've been married now for nearly 32 years, it actually has created opportunity for me.
Yeah.
I've changed.
Yes.
Hopefully for the better.
Yeah.
In our own little community, because of our own little community, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Telling each other the truth.
Yeah, which is all part of it too, right? Yeah. There's a whole other podcast there.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah. So how do you guys break down like the leadership layer, I guess, that can exist in churches? Because you're talking about connecting with people within the church.
Yeah.
And like my dad was a United Church pastor for 35 years, and he was taught in seminary, don't make friends with your congregants.
Yes.
Right? Because you're going to leave every 5 years anyway. You're going to break their hearts.
Yes.
It makes it all messy and complicated, so don't do it.
Yeah. I think it was a generational thing.
Definitely a generational thing.
Well, I think it's something they might still teach.
Yeah, they might teach that in those seminaries, actually, to be fair. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not sure.
But then, like, you guys, I mean, to give some context for people who wouldn't know, Catch the Fire's been around since the 90s. I mean, actually started, I think, late 80s, technically, right?
Yeah.
89. And a massive revival, a big local church movement that has planted churches all around the world now. And for probably a good decade, the question was like, who's going to take over Toronto after Steve and Sandra, right? That was a big question. Yeah. And eventually, like, God cleared it up that you guys are to be those people.
Surprise to us.
Yeah.
As well as others.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
No, we definitely did.
And I mean, I used to sit in the board meetings and, like, your names were not part of those conversations, right?
No.
At least at that time.
Yeah.
It's definitely revelation to Steve from the Lord.
It was a God thing.
Yeah, but it's amazing the way it's all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say you guys inherited a very established movement with a global presence, a big online audience as well. You guys have that going as well. So when you're talking about building community, you're like kind of the new people on the block, but you're in a very revered leadership position.
Yeah.
So how do you break down some of those walls that naturally exist when you're a leader?
Yeah.
And you're trying to foster that community.
I think it is terrible advice to say, or it's just a lie to say that as a pastor or leader, you can't be friends with people in your church. If I look at Jesus and the way he did it, he lived with them, like they were all smelly together. I'm just like, I feel like it's maybe a self-protective construct. I don't know, but I couldn't, if they were the real rules and I had to live by them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, honestly. Because I just don't think it's healthy to have that. I mean, boundaries are healthy, and you don't live fully
open to everybody.
With everything to everybody. But if you are leading, I want to lead by example. So I need to have people that I can be vulnerable with, and I need to be vulnerable even on the platform for that to become safe for other people to be the same.
Yeah.
So for me, I just think you just can't say, I just couldn't say, well, I'm the leader, so I'm not going to be friends with people that I'm leading. I can't be friends with everyone. That would be impossible. But
do you ever get, like, when you started connecting with people, how do you? Because I would think, like, if people know, like, you're going to be the pastors of Toronto, or you are now the pastors of Toronto.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever feel the block a little bit, or like, because people will try to present things a certain way, want to be more polished, or it's like it's overtly pastoral. Like, let me just tell you all the stuff I'm going through, and can you just help me and save me? Right. That probably some determining factors on whether or not they get a second date with you, quote unquote. Right. But how do you also, like, I guess, how do you keep some of those walls down so that you're having honest connection?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, some of it starts with the language. So there's certain cultures, especially, that will want to call me pastor or Ash pastor. Pastor Murray this, Pastor Murray that. And I've shocked a few people by telling them, please don't call me pastor. It's it's what I do. It's not who I am. I understand the honor. But I because if we use titles, we set ourselves up on a pedestal that I don't want to do. I shocked another lady by I've started calling her pastor because she's actually a really good pastor. So she started calling me pastor. So I said, oh, hi, pastor. And she, the first time I said it, she sort of got a bit bashful. So just trying to just live normally and naturally and take down if there's pedestals that we feel that people have put us on. Just trying to do our best to pull that down. One-on-one, but also from the platform being as transparent. Obviously, if you're going through and you're bleeding, you don't want to be bleeding on the stage. Metaphorically so.
Or literally.
But being able to be transparent and authentic. I think those are the things that we've learned that will try and take down some of that barrier between us and them, if you like. Which is not,
I think as well, the other thing is, people, it is a it's a position of honor and it's a privilege. It is a real privilege to be given that role by the Lord. So it is a real privilege. So I wouldn't want to like belittle it. So I understand that people do respect and honor. I think when we do have conversations with people, and sometimes people they think I've got to go to the pastor to get prayer, or got to you'll know the answer to these questions. There are times where I'll say, I don't know, but I'll pray with you, or you can pray, and I'll agree with you. And so,
or that person over there is really, really good. Why don't you go and talk to them, because you actually get a better experience than
And there have been times where we have been helping people work through something. You know, maybe it's marriage stuff or whatever, just issues of the heart, and we have said, because we've learned from our mistakes, where we felt like we had to be the savior. But where we've had to say, actually, we're going to keep walking with you, but we think you need to get some help from somebody else who has more skill. Maybe a professional counselor or something like that. You know, so
that's really good.
That's where I think that has also helped to then. I think that builds trust and connection with people.
And it also kind of clears the boundaries a little bit as well, right?
But, you know, one of the things that we spent some time through our time in Raleigh learning about some of the brain science and some of the practicing some relational skills and that kind of thing. And we realized that a simple way of creating belonging is just a smile, right? You know, to see somebody, you walk into a room and you just, you know, do your best to remember their name, although that's a challenge when you've got 2,400 people or whatever it is, you know, in a community, not on a Sunday, but lots of people's and lots of different names. But, you know, I've often prayed and asked the Lord to help me remember people's names, because that's really important.
Goes a long way.
Smiling at them, remembering, just, you know, demonstrating that I'm glad that you're here. Actually, you can do a lot just from a smile when you look at someone in the eyes, and there's brain science behind that. That actually creates a sense of
you're glad to be with
belonging,
me.
Family, community, connection.
That I'm a source of, that we're giving someone else the understanding that they're a source of joy to us. So that's important to us.
That's amazing.
Looking them in the eye.
That's so good. Yeah, it's funny, actually, the guest I had in the studio before that, we were talking about smiling as well. And he was talking about how the brain just naturally can determine if a smile is actually authentic or not. And what a difference it makes when it is, right? Someone to feel accepted and welcome and everything else.
Well, we all know the moments where we've walked into a room and nobody looks at us and nobody smiles at us, and then you think, are you actually happy for me to be here? Do I belong here? And that can, you know, happened to me a few weeks ago. I was in another city and I went into a meeting, and a few people just didn't even look at me. And it made me wonder where they were at. Not that I would feel insecure about it, because I feel secure in myself, but it did make me think, oh, where are they relationally? Whereas if you walk into a room and somebody just smiles at you, you know, you can see someone across the room and you can give them a smile. And that just makes a huge difference.
What a difference. It's amazing.
It really is.
So, so now some questions on the other side. So for people that are attending churches, I think like this is a big conversation now, right, about loneliness. And then people feeling like everyone's hearing about like you need to have community. And obviously like you guys have such a great story about that. But then I think people are struggling to find that, you know, or figuring out how it works. There's some unique challenges with like digital world and all that kind of stuff, like maybe some unrealistic expectations, but also like you can sit on the couch now and just attend church, quote unquote. What are some of your pieces of advice for people that are saying like, hey, I'm trying to plug into the church, not even catch the fire necessarily, but just I'm trying to plug in, I want to build a sense of community, but I'm struggling either to find those people or can't get traction with people. Any words of wisdom there?
Sure.
I mean, just to acknowledge that the struggle can be real.
You
know, we've been in situations and contexts where people have said to us, "You're very welcoming, but not very friendly." You know, and by that they mean we're happy to see you, but then getting beyond this barrier into deep friendship, this, you know, can be a real challenge, because like you say, there's social media, people are very busy with their lives. There's lots going on. So I think it's first thing is to acknowledge that it is a common challenge. and it can be difficult and actually requires some pursuit and some intentionality for it, right?
Yeah.
And I think, was it Dietrich Bonhoeffer that said, if you are looking, what is it?
It says if you pursue community, you will kill community. But if you love people well, you will create community everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think along what that says to me is sometimes, and I think it's exacerbated by social media because there's these curated lives that you're looking at. And mine does not live up to that.
Perfect life, the perfect church.
The perfect family and all the friends that are going and having fun and I wasn't invited and all of that stuff. So I understand that kind of exacerbates loneliness for people and the feeling of isolation or exclusion. But you can still feel that when you walk into a church community, which is kind of what we're talking about. But I think having the mindset of I'm part of the building of community is very important. So I'm not coming so that people can offer me community. I'm coming because I get to be part of building the community. Now, I think that's a bit of a shift for some people because they're coming and judging. Well, and I understand, you get a sense of things.
Sure.
You can get a feel, is this a welcoming space? Are people friendly and warm? And can I find a place to belong? Can I see myself somewhere in this? And that's important that a large group, and we as the leaders of that group, we set the tone of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think we all, as individuals, have the responsibility to actually be part of adding or subtracting from any space that we're in.
Yeah.
So I think having the mindset of when I go, and I do this when I go into a new place, and people might say, well, you're extroverted. Yeah, I may be, but I can still be intimidating at times.
Yeah.
And when I go into a new place, I'm not waiting for them to greet me or make me feel welcome. And we used to tell our kids this all the time. When you go to a new school, because our kids have lived on 3 different continents now, they've had to face new cultures, environments, everything. We would say to them, you're a Smith, you are Izzy or Hannah or Lucy or Sarah, and you're a really amazing person.
You're worth
getting to know. You're a good friend.
Wow.
And so when you walk into that cafeteria at lunchtime or when you walk into this new youth group, just remember that you are worth getting to know.
Wow.
And so you need to go and find people and start connecting with them, smile at them, just join in the conversation. And remember that you are worth getting to know.
Wow.
And so I tell that to myself. I'm like, I'm going to go in here, and everyone may not want to get to know me, but there will be people in here that it's worth them knowing me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go and smile at you. I'm going to go and start up a conversation or try and join in a conversation and find a point of connection.
Yeah.
If you snub me or whatever, okay, that's okay.
Sure.
I'll go and find somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And I think that you have to kind of, I would encourage people to have that mindset of don't wait for it. Be on the front foot of trying. Now, try and try again.
Of course,
Yeah.
Some persistence there, right?
That being said, there are moments where you could say we need community to heal, but sometimes we need to have some healing before we step into community.
Interesting.
Right? Because there is a sense
before we go deeper.
Because there is a sense of I've been rejected and I feel abandoned, or I feel like people don't want to be my friend, or I feel like I'm not worthy of love.
Yes.
And so sometimes, actually, the very act of being in community will help that. But sometimes the pain of that will stop us from getting into that community. And therefore we do need to also go after some of those roots of rejection or pain or not being worthy to be, because what actually you're talking about is actually having a fairly healthy self-construct.
Yeah.
A sense of self.
That's right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, sometimes it's more it's important to actually deal with those issues.
Some of the roots.
Before you can fully embrace community.
Yeah.
But then other times you fully embrace community and some of the healing comes with it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, from some of the pain of my past and then my own responses and reactions to how I lived, I had some trust issues with men. And so going into a big community where there were strong men could feel scary for me.
Yeah.
Could feel a bit intimidating, and I might not feel safe. Not because those men aren't safe, but because I've had that experience in my past, and then I've made it mean something in my head, and so whether it was related to my dad or other men and experiences. So when I had experiences where what was coming up in certain like as I'm stepping into relationship, like what should be a healthy relationship with another male, I was in a community. I felt unsafe, or I felt like abandonment or insecurity, or I'm not good enough, I have to perform to get your approval or whatever. And the very thing that should be healing for me was pushing on the buttons. So I needed to go and receive some healing, some prayer and some help to work through some of those things in my heart and what I made it mean, which then made it more possible for me to step into a bit more healthy relationship with, a male figure. Yeah. And so and then in that context, I needed safe, healthy men who could reflect to me what that is like. And that helped me to then become more comfortable. And I don't know if that answers.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it does. Like there's kind of that, number one, I like what you're saying. Like you have to take initiative, right? You can't just wait for everyone to come to you.
Yeah.
Like you have to take initiative. You have to know who you are, right? There's a degree of like, you're only going to show up as much as you know yourself. Yeah. But then also that might involve some healing, right? Some work that's required that will limit or determine how deep you can go in a community.
Right? I think the other thing I would add to that is what we were saying earlier about every time we've moved to a different community is pray and ask the Lord for somebody. It can be one person, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we might be looking for a peer, but there's someone that would actually be a stand-in parent that's just there. Maybe we don't have eyes to see if we're looking for a peer.
Yeah, right.
Or sometimes if we're looking for a parent, then there's a peer that we miss.
Yes.
So I think it's going in and praying and then being open to who the Lord brings in. And trying to be open. Yes. Obviously. Yeah. If you've had wounding in the past, that does become a challenge.
Yeah, it does. And it makes sense though, because I think like the whole the human heart is so tender.
Yeah.
And obviously, like at Catch the Fire in that environment, we talk a lot about healing in our relationship with God as well. Yeah. Which is really the centerpiece of all this, right?
It is.
The way you show up, the way you see yourself, the way you're going to want to connect with others. That's the big determining factor.
Absolutely. Right? Good point.
But I think what you're saying is very true. That sometimes you need to do the therapy, the inner healing, whatever it is, because that's what actually creates that capacity for you to connect deeper with God, but also with the people that you're around.
Yeah.
And I think especially maybe our generation, maybe it's not like the world, but I would say millennials in particular, I think we've been given the wrong message, which is just that church is supposed to meet all your needs for you. They should have it all figured out. And it's very we're very consumeristic, right? Yeah. And I think, you guys are in Toronto. I'm sure you feel that a little bit, like people will definitely hop from church to church and whatever, right? And we were talking about parking, right? And the parking thing I can understand, but I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't like the way they do this or that. Like it's very petty things that people kind of lose the church over. So I like what you guys are saying, because I think it's important that we're taking that responsibility.
Yeah.
For people who maybe even are hearing this and are like, okay, I think I do. I'm realizing maybe some of my own wounding is there, and I'm not healing in the community I have, but I know I need to get some more help. How do people start that journey and start to figure out what they need?
Yeah, great. You can start on your own. I remember reading a book by Brennan Manning. I don't know if he's a Catholic priest.
What was his big book?
Abba's Child and Ragamuffin Gospel. But in Abba's Child, and it's also, I think, in Furious Longings of God, he talks about this discipline that he'd practiced, or he'd got other people to practice, and he talks about this story of, I won't get all the details right, but about, he's at a monastery somewhere, he gets a knock on the door, it's a nun, she's in her 70s, she's in tears, she said, when I was young, like a small child, my dad molested me. I lost my childhood, I lost my innocence. I became a nun because I thought I wanted to just get rid of the guilt, but I felt so guilty all my life, and my life feels like it's been a total waste of time. And I feel like it's been I've got no hope or joy, and I can't forgive my dad.
Wow.
Right? That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Right? To live with that for 60, 70 years.
Yes.
So here's just what he says. He says, I want you to lie on your back for half an hour a day, and I want you to breathe in really deeply and breathe out really deeply. And I want you to breathe in, Abba. And now as you breathe out, I want you to just breathe out, I belong to you. Now, you can't do it out loud because you're breathing in and talking, hyperventilate. But just in your mind, breathe in, deep breath. Physiologically, it calms you down. Abba, I belong to you, as a meditation. And he said, do that, see how it happens. So a couple of weeks later, gets a letter from the nun. God met me. I was able to forgive my dad. I feel like I've got my childhood back. I feel like my life has purpose and meaning. I have so much joy. All from breathing in and breathing out.
Wow.
And
right?
meditating.
And meditating.
Yeah.
And so because I've had my own journey with feeling like a disappointment, and you have to present myself as the big Murray so that everybody likes me, or because I feel insignificant, and then shrink away when I feel I've done something wrong. And so I've had to work through some of those things that have impacted community. And I've found, we can get into the other things that we've done, but I found those really simple disciplines like Abba, I belong to you, really, really powerful. Because it's just me and God. And the beautiful thing is, if I practice it enough, I can do it anywhere, anytime, and no one else knows. Right? But I'm grounding myself in the reality of who God is. That would be one thing. The other thing that we learned would be the Emmanuel, engaging with God through Emmanuel prayer. You want to share a little bit about that?
Please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's just really, so quite often when you're doing inner healing or, heart work, you're encouraged to go for the negative memory, like find out what the issue is, the root. But if you imagine a kid, you're a parent with a little child, and you say, I need you to go get me that wrench from the darkest place in the basement, and there's no light down there, but just go get it for me. They're going to be petrified, and it's not easy for them to go there. I'm likening some of the heart work that we're doing. It's a bit scary to find the trauma first thing or early on. So what Emmanuel prayer does is you find a point of connection with Jesus first, where it's usually from a memory where you felt a strong connection with him, and you interact with him in that memory, and it's like then Jesus is going to come with you if you're ready to go to those places, and it's directed by God being with you, as opposed to me going to the negative memory and trying and asking him to come and meet me there. I'm actually engaging with him through the Holy Spirit and through that memory of connection with him. And
refreshing that now.
And then it refreshes it, and I just sit with him in that, which also builds my capacity to experience the joy of his presence. And then there's the more fullness of joy, so it's easier for me.
Which is what you're after anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. Why you do the inner healing in the
to
first
go
place.
to those places of pain and trauma.
Really cool.
Yeah, so Emmanuel Approach, it's by Dr. Carl Lehman out of Chicago. He's a prolific writer, very helpful. We found very helpful. And then the other thing has been about the power of, you've got more to say about that?
No, I mean, I'm maybe just going down a slightly different track, but thinking about a person who's saying, I'm trying to find community and I can't where I'm at. I think there are times where I'm trying to find healing, whatever it is, and community.
Yeah.
There are times where we do have to go somewhere different, and that's just the reality of it for what our needs are. I just think, for me, there are times where it's right for me to stay even though it's uncomfortable and to press in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes we are, like you were saying, people have a consumerist mentality, and it's not just millennials. I think it's maybe a bit more of a Western thing, and we've just grown up with this concept of I have everything right at my fingertips when I need it, as soon as I need it, and it's like fast, and it's all about me feeling comfortable and good.
Yeah.
But actually, we forget that Jesus, if we're following Jesus, actually he has called us to a life that is death.
Yeah.
And there will be hard things. And so, but he's promised that he's going to be with us in those hard things. So sometimes it's a matter of asking myself, am I wanting to run away and seek comfort elsewhere? And I know all about that. I could get comfort from a relationship that's not healthy. I can get comfort from food. I can get comfort from, binge watching something on television or reading, something that's going to distract me, but from dealing with it. So it's like asking myself, what does my heart need? And is going the right thing, or am I escaping?
Yes.
Because I've not given enough time, or I've not actually pressed in enough.
Yeah.
And maybe not been vulnerable with somebody.
Yeah.
Or is it that this is just not the safe space that I need for this season in my life, so I need to go and find another.
And I guess that discernment is just something you develop with time.
Yeah, and I think you need to talk. That's where you do probably need to try and talk to somebody else that could give you some wise counsel. And that doesn't have to always be someone that knows you super well.
Right.
It could just be someone that you've seen and you trust. You've seen their life and you trust them. And
But I would give it a go for a while.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you
have
just
to be persistent a little bit at least.
Yeah. And I would practice some other things. So I think it's a really beautiful points. How else can you keep working through while you're waiting to assess, is this me or is this place that I need to move? There's other things that we can do. So we practice a lot of appreciation and gratitude, right? Because again, what we've understood from brain science is that gratitude opens you up for relationship. Right,
it switches on the front part of
relational circuits in your brain, and so the more you can express appreciation and gratitude,
genuine appreciation,
important,
smile,
right.
So building in the disciplines of some Abba prayer, some Emmanuel prayer, building capacity, and then building, practicing some appreciation.
Yeah,
those are all things that are going to open you up for relationship,
and build joy on the inside. That strengthens you to then be able to face hard things.
So that's like what you can do on your own.
Yes,
and then there's so many healing modalities, aren't there? Even there's restoring the foundations. There's Emmanuel approach. There's heart sync. There's sozo. There's theophostic prayer. There's there's therapy. There's trauma counselling, which Ash and I have been involved with, and some been part of had some received, and it's amazing. There's lots of things you can go and then get sort of more professional, either Christian help or actual professional help.
Hopefully both,
or maybe both.
Right?
But build it yourself first.
Yeah.
And then as you build those things and you'll find yourself, okay, I'm practicing my joy, I'm practicing Abba prayers, I'm building my joy capacity with the Lord, then if I can't find something else in this community, or maybe then it's time to start thinking about, has God got something else for me somewhere else?
Or is there a pocket of, I might stay here in this community, but is there a pocket of people that I may be walking through some similar things, or I can find some joy and connection there.
Yes.
And I think that really helps. Here's the other thing that I'm thinking, if you're okay, if we go down this route. So in the beginning, God gave Adam and Eve the garden, and he said, tend the garden and work it. And so there was responsibility placed on them. And I think maturity, our own maturity, obviously when we're babies and little kids, we receive healthy or unhealthy bonds and identity from whatever our family unit is. And that can be good and bad.
Yes.
So that there is responsibility on caregivers for that. But as we, get to a certain age, that our maturity and growth in one sense God has given us our own hearts to garden still. Yeah. Now he loves to work with us and we can receive help from others, and that's important. I think some of what we're talking about is learning to tend our garden,
very much
the
so.
inner world,
yes,
and allow it to come out when we find safe people, or we pay people to help us.
That's right, or a mix of both, or whatever it is you need, right?
But here's the thing: sometimes I've realized is I might be looking, and we love encounters with God. We love the Holy Spirit. We love just those foundations in our movement and in, the church. Sometimes we can look for another fix. And we've been a little bit like we get comfort from food or something else. I'm going to get comfort from going and having another inner healing session. And hear me, I'm not saying that's bad. But actually there might be a point where what I have received, I need to learn to walk out. And I think that is where community is very important and necessary. And you can't be a person who says, I'm just going to do this alone with Jesus. And it's just me having another encounter with Jesus or me having another prayer ministry session. It's like if I'm struggling to say no to something, I might, or I don't know how to eat healthily, or I don't know how to not keep looking at porn or whatever. And I've done a lot of the heart work. I actually might need to have help from someone who's walked ahead of me. And ask for that help.
I mean, you guys are speaking my language because I told you, like, we built this brotherhood in Deep Clean that is gaining some great traction. And one of the things that we're seeing is it's exactly this. It's like guys are getting tools to heal. They're getting opportunities to explore like some of the more root causal issues of their struggle. But then they can have more transparent conversations in a group environment. And we see the best outcomes for sure in the people that do both. Right? They'll do the work and they get those breakthroughs. Sometimes it's nothing monumental, but they still do the work. But when you're processing it with the other guys, you're talking it through, you're hearing their perspective, maybe they're asking some questions back, like that kind of walking it out or at least working it out is really where formation actually happens.
Absolutely.
Like that's where real maturity is built. And I think that part can be harder to find, right? Like you have to work to find it, and then you also have to work to walk it out, like you said. And the charismatic church, like, we can definitely be guilty of like, you're just chasing one conference after the next, one breakthrough after the next, when most of the work actually happens in between. Like the breakthroughs are free, but the maturity is expensive. Right? Like it takes so much time to walk that out.
And I read the other week that character is basically formed out of two libraries in our brain. Right. So there's a library that says what has worked in the past, when we've encountered this situation, what's our reference point, what's worked in the past, what's happened. And then the other library that our brain subconsciously filters through is how is it most like our people to act in this situation.
Most like our people. Oh, interesting.
So who is our people, right? So that's where community comes in. So for instance, if you're got into a pattern of when I'm in work, I get under pressure, I turn to something to find some false joy or false comfort, like pornography or like food or something like that. Well, that's my history tells me that's what I do. But then if you're in a community that is, you see, well, my dad, when he responded, well, he just responded in the same way. He got stuck in the newspaper or whatever. Then it becomes, this is how
comfort.
This is how our people function, right? So what we need to do is we need to have new libraries in our brains. So how do you get the new library? Well, I see how other people function. Oh, there's a different way of doing it. that's amazing. And then I start to see, okay, our people, it's most like us to actually not turn to porn or alcohol or food or whatever, but actually to turn to community or find joy. And so I think what you're doing in your groups is just that. You're giving people a new library of options of how a choice to make. And you're giving people a new sense of these are our people, and our people are people that don't turn to this. We're actually doing something different. And so we're literally rewiring. That's why community is so important, because we all have bad examples of our way we function, the decisions that we've made, and our people. But we're in a healthy community. We're now learning a whole new skill set.
That's a pretty fascinating concept. Because you can't change the library of your past experiences.
No.
But you can change the library of the people that you're around.
And you can,
our people.
And you can see the way other people have responded. And so you can actually change your library, because you're now no longer historically driven. You've now got a different...
It changes your perspective, your lens.
Different reference point. So I know, oh wow, I've always gone to doing this, but my friend Sathya, he got breakthrough, and I know when he does this is what he does. So now I've got our people, Sathya, and what he does as a reference point.
Oh, interesting.
For me to do something different. Right?
With the help of the Holy Spirit.
Help of the Holy Spirit. So I was really fascinated with that when I heard that. I'm like, that's why healthy community is so powerful. Because it actually gives us an opportunity to rewire our brains to shape our character for the good.
It's so incredible. How much does it matter? Because now, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking some of the stuff we've been talking about, like or barriers that people run into, building community. How different is this between genders? So, because you guys have even talked like a little bit like as a couple, like going on those first dates, quote unquote, those double dates, and getting to know people. And then now I'm thinking about even the way women would foster community versus guys. All the concepts we've talked about are applicable, I think, in both. But any, I don't know, any like gender specific pieces of wisdom on this subject for people that want to foster more community in their lives?
I would say yes. I would say it's harder for men, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I feel like we're not naturally as good at it. I'm not sure how to say that. But
I think what I've observed, because I'm not a man.
But please tell us.
But what I've observed,
tell us what guys
men often seem to become more open and talk when they've got something else that they're focused on. Like doing an activity together, or watching a game together, or it seems to me that way.
That's very true.
Whereas women, I think, and this is a generalization, because some men wear their heart on their sleeve and are very open, and we'll just get, you can have a heart-to-heart straight away. But generally speaking, women tend to be a little bit more vulnerable sooner with each other, and we might we'll have the general chit-chat. You can generally then move into something a little bit deeper. Now, again, it's a generalization.
No, I think that's true. I think women do connect just naturally in conversation and depth of conversation. They call it like, there's like biology behind this, like it's oxytocin bonding, or it's like you're sharing about the stuff you've gone through, that's how you bond. But with guys, it's vasopressin bonding, which is all about like, you have to do stuff together. You watch a game together, you play a game together. Like there's some activity, and then usually the conversation kind of comes on the back end. So I think that's true.
I think you can learn. It just requires more intentionality and more learning for a guy, right? So part of my history is not really being very good with my emotions, not really understanding my emotions, only really having one emotion, which would be anger, but it would take a while to come out, or it would be like,
be suppressed anger.
So I've really had to work on learning to express my emotion, and part of that is receiving wisdom from a counselor, but part of that is also seeing other guy friends that have been really good at sharing their emotion. I'm like, oh wow, I love how you did that. And so again, it's not with everybody, but I've got some friends where I've generally bonded with them over doing something like learning how to make coffee or whatever. But then, as I'm becoming more fluent with my emotions, learning to actually begin to express how I feel what I feel angry about, what I feel sad about, what I feel a bit guilty about, or fearful about, and that doesn't come naturally. But I'm having to be intentional to work on it.
Yeah.
So I've started with the Lord first, and then with Ash, and now I'm trying to, push the boundary of that with my friends so that I can actually create a sense of belonging because I'm now being known.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
You don't want to be good at knowing but not being known.
Yeah. And I think some of that is lost. Like, we don't even get there in a lot of the guy relationships because, to your point, actually, like we're not actually doing stuff as much. It kind of seems like
that's
these
true.
days, right? We're a little bit more like glued to our screens, and and there's value in like getting together and watching a game or something together. But it's not the same as playing a game together, right? Or building something together, or learning how to make coffee together, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that, but I think you're right. Like, I'm the same person. Like, had so many issues learning to express my emotions. Still, like, definitely like an area I really need to grow in. I lean so much on Shaloma for that.
Yes.
She helps me a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that's also, like, again, something that I think women are just thinking about more, seem to be more conscious of it, can communicate about it, and like there's no fear of being like weak for having emotions. Whereas I think guys, we have like some of those things we need to get past, and obviously it depends on the community. But
I guess it does depend on the community.
Yeah.
If you have if there's a low sense of love and acceptance and affirmation generally within the community, then it's much harder to be transparent and open, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're in a community where people just cut you down, they're not happy to see you, it's just jokes at your expense or whatever, or performance. It's like you didn't do that well enough.
Yeah.
None of that's going to build community.
Right.
All of that's going to actually turn off because, you talked about bonds, oxytocin bonds, but for all of us, the key is bonding. Mm-hmm. Our hearts are designed to bond.
Yes.
Attachment theory and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Our bonding is set in our early ages, our capacity to bond. But the Lord can bring healing to that. And to really thrive, to find a community, is that you can actually bond through love, right? By not like mushy lovey-dovey, but just kindness, openness, friendship. That makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. And I think generally women tend to appreciate each other a little more. I mean, I remember being a young teenager, it can get a bit catty and competitive. But I think as you become more comfortable in your skin and who you are, you tend to celebrate each other, which does help you to feel loved and accepted, and then willing to share.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's so good, guys. It's so good chatting with you. Thanks for being on the podcast.
It's our pleasure.
We love you.
Do you want to point anyone anywhere if they want to connect with you guys more, find out more? CTF Toronto.
Obviously. I mean, I don't do social media. You'll find me on social media, but you won't find me if you like. I'm never on there personally, but ctftoronto.com or YouTube, Catch the Fire Toronto. You can subscribe to our YouTube page.
We have a School of Ministry, which is a great place if you are looking for some healing. Getting some healing. The School of Ministry on our website.
Or somtoronto.com.
And then we also we do transformation weekends at the church, which if you don't have to attend our church to attend a transformation weekend. We have them 4 times a year. And they're great opportunities to just, if you do want to have a space to process and connect with the Father, deal with some of the internal issues, be filled with the Holy Spirit, it's a great place for that.
Yeah.
Highly experiential. We're trying. There's some teaching, but also some encounter.
So good.
Yeah.
Good. We'll put links in the show notes, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having us. It's so good to be with you, Sathya. Thanks for having us.
Of course.